Every year, America's map quietly rewrites itself as towns flourish and fade like seasonal wildflowers. People pack up dreams and drive toward distant opportunities, leaving behind empty storefronts and fading memories. The numbers tell a stark story. 83 small metropolitan areas lost population between 2012 to 2013, more than double the 36 that faced decline just years earlier. This isn't just statistical noise. It's the sound of America's heartland slowly going silent. The anatomy of a dying town follows a predictable pattern. First, the jobs disappear when factories close or military bases relocate. Young families follow the work to bigger cities, taking their children and energy with them. Schools lose enrollment, businesses board up windows, and crime creeps into the vacuum left by hope. What were once thriving main streets become ghost corridors, where streetlights illuminate nothing but memories. This crisis has roots stretching back nearly a century. Cars and highways made it easy to bypass small towns entirely, redirecting commerce toward urban centers. The very mobility that symbolized American freedom became the instrument of small-town strangulation. Village businesses that once survived on local loyalty couldn't compete with distant shopping centers and job markets just a tank of gas away. But these aren't just dots disappearing from maps. They're the keepers of American character. These towns raised generations, fed the nation, and preserved values like neighborliness and self-reliance that once defined us. When they die, we lose living pieces of our history. Today we'll explore 7 communities standing at the crossroads between survival and surrender, plus 2 places that might just beat the odds and prove that America's small towns still have fight left in them. Yazoo City, Mississippi, population bleeding away. Yazoo County, Mississippi, had the largest population decline of all U.S. counties between July 1, 2023 and July 1, 2024, losing 6.4% of its residents. That's huge. Imagine if 1 out of every 16 people in your neighborhood just packed up and left in 1 year. Yazoo City sits in the Mississippi Delta. The county was once an agricultural hub in the Mississippi Delta, but it has steadily lost residents to bigger cities within the state. Cotton fields used to stretch for miles. Families worked the same farms for generations. What happened? Farming changed. Big machines replaced workers. Young people went to college and never came back. The jobs that remained didn't pay enough to raise families. A local real estate agent told Realtor.com, "A lot of people have moved out because there just isn't much happening here. No real job opportunities or economic growth. Most homes are being rented rather than sold. People inherit homes or move away and end up renting them out because they don't want to come back to live here." The numbers tell the story. In Yazoo County, the median list price of a home is $171,156, and homes spend about 124 days on the market. That's 4 months sitting empty. In healthy towns, houses sell in weeks. Schools are closing. Businesses are shutting down. The hospital is struggling. When basic services disappear, families have no choice but to leave. Can Yazoo City survive to 2026? It's possible, but very hard. They need new industries. They need reasons for young people to stay. They need help from the state government. The Delta is beautiful. The people are strong. But without jobs and opportunity, even the strongest communities can't survive. Cairo, Illinois. The town time forgot Cairo, Illinois, sits where 2 great rivers meet. The Ohio River flows into the Mississippi River right here. It sounds like it should be important. It used to be. In the 1920s, Cairo had 15,000 people. Steamboats stopped here. Trains came through daily. It was a key trading post for the entire region. Today, Cairo has fewer than 3,000 people. That's an 80% drop in 100 years. Buildings are empty. Streets are broken. The downtown looks like a ghost town. What went wrong? Several things happened at once. The railroad industry changed. Trucks replaced trains for shipping. The steamboat era ended. Integration conflicts in the 1960s drove many families away. Cairo shows what happens when a town loses its purpose. It was built to be a transportation hub. When transportation changed, Cairo was left behind. The young people leave as soon as they graduate high school. There's nothing for them here. No college, no good jobs, no entertainment, no future. The remaining residents are mostly older and poorer. They can't afford to move. They watch their town crumble around them. Cairo has some advantages. The rivers are still there. The location is still good, but it needs massive investment. It needs new industries. It needs a reason to exist in the modern world. The state of Illinois is broke. They can't help much. The federal government has other priorities. Cairo is mostly on its own. Will Cairo make it to 2026? Maybe. But it won't look the same. It might become a tiny river town instead of a city. Some people think that's okay. Others find it heartbreaking. The lesson from Cairo is simple. Towns need more than history and location. They need jobs and young families. Without those, even the most beautiful places can die. Flint, Michigan, pibers beyond the water crisis. Everyone knows about Flint's water problem. Residents say they have distrusted the quality of the water since a state-appointed emergency manager switched Flint's drinking water source from the Detroit area water system to the Flint River in April 2014. But Flint's problems go much deeper than bad water. Flint's population fell 21% to a little above 81,000 people. This was once a proud automaking city with almost 200,000 people. General Motors built cars here for decades. Good-paying jobs supported thousands of families. Unfortunately, the city of Flint has been on a steady population decline for almost 20 years, the mayor said. The decline started before the water crisis. It's about much more than lid pipes. What's really killing Flint? Lost jobs, crime. The loss of jobs and the city's state-caused lid contamination water crisis are the lid culprits. When GM moved production to other states and countries, Flint lost its economic foundation. I remember when things were a whole lot different. When you see a street like this and it wouldn't be nearly as empty, said a 68-year-old retired teacher as he crossed Saginaw Street in downtown across from City Hall. The water crisis made everything worse. Parents don't trust the schools. Families don't want to raise children here. Businesses worry about their workers' health. Young people are leaving faster than ever. They go to college and never return. They find jobs in Detroit, Grand Rapids, or other states. Who can blame them? Flint is trying to fight back. The city and many community partners are diligently working to attract talent, families and businesses through economic development initiatives, housing opportunities and workforce development. But it's an uphill battle. The city has massive debt. Infrastructure is falling apart. The reputation is damaged nationwide. Some neighborhoods are coming back. Downtown has new restaurants and shops. The university provides some stability, but it's not enough to stop the bleeding. Can Flint survive to 2026? Yes, but it will be much smaller. It might stabilize at 60,000 or 70,000 people. That's still a city, just not the powerhouse it once was. Flint teaches us that cities can survive disasters. They can overcome bad leadership and industrial collapse. But recovery takes decades, not years. And some of the damage can never be fixed. Youngstown, Ohio, shrinking by design. Youngstown, Ohio is trying something different. Instead of fighting population loss, they're managing it. They call it smart shrinkage. This used to be Steel City. Huge mills employed tens of thousands. The population peaked at 170,000 in 1960. Today it's around 60,000. When the steel industry collapsed, Youngstown collapsed too. Unemployment soared. Crime exploded. Buildings were abandoned. The city was broke. Traditional approaches didn't work. They tried attracting new businesses. They offered tax breaks. They built new facilities. Nothing stopped the decline. So Youngstown tried a new approach. Instead of trying to fill every empty lot, they started tearing down abandoned buildings. Instead of maintaining every street, they focused on the neighborhoods that were still strong. They're turning vacant lots into urban farms and parks. They're improving the areas where people still live. They're being realistic about their size. Some people love this approach. It makes the city more manageable. Services work better in smaller areas. Crime goes down when there are fewer empty buildings. Other people hate it. They see it as giving up. They think cities should always try to grow. They worry about the people left in the declining neighborhoods. Youngstown still faces huge challenges. The tax base is tiny. The schools struggle. Young people still leave for bigger cities. The poverty rate is very high, but there are signs of hope. Some young professionals are moving back. The cost of living is incredibly low. You can buy a decent house for less than $50,000. Artists and entrepreneurs like cheap space. A few innovative businesses have started here. The university provides some stability. Will Youngstown survive to 2026? Absolutely. But it will be a different kind of city. Smaller, more focused, more realistic about its limitations. Youngstown shows that sometimes the best strategy is managing decline, not fighting it. Not every city can grow, but they can still be good places to live. Portsmouth, Ohio. The opioid capital Portsmouth, Ohio, sits on the Ohio River. It used to be a thriving industrial town. Steel mills, shoe factories, and chemical plants provided good jobs. The population reached 42,000 in the 1960s. Today, Portsmouth has about 18,000 people. But population loss isn't the only problem. The Distressed Communities Index shows communities facing deep economic distress across the United States. Portsmouth ranks among the most distressed. Portsmouth became famous for all the wrong reasons. It's known as Ground Zero for America's opioid crisis. Pill mills flooded the town with prescription drugs. Addiction rates soared. Families were destroyed. Why did drugs hit Portsmouth so hard? When the factories closed, people lost hope. Physical jobs caused injuries. Doctors prescribed pain pills. Drug dealers saw an opportunity. The statistics are heartbreaking. Portsmouth has one of the highest overdose death rates in America. Emergency rooms are overwhelmed. The jail is full of addicts. Children are removed from homes daily. Economic problems made everything worse. When people can't find work, they turn to drugs. When they're addicted, they can't work. It's a vicious cycle. Downtown Portsmouth is mostly empty. Businesses closed when their customers died or went to prison. Banks left, restaurants shut down. Even fast food chains pulled out. The school system is struggling. Many children live with grandparents because their parents are dead or in jail. Teachers deal with trauma every day. Test scores are terrible. But Portsmouth isn't giving up. Community groups are fighting back. Churches provide meals and counseling. Nonprofits offer treatment programs. Some businesses are returning. The river is still beautiful. Housing is very cheap. Some people are buying old houses and fixing them up. A few artists and retirees are moving in. The state of Ohio is investing in rural communities. They're funding addiction treatment. They're trying to bring broadband internet to small towns. They know places like Portsmouth need help. Can Portsmouth survive to 2026? Yes, but it will take time to heal. The opioid crisis damaged multiple generations. Recovery will take decades. Portsmouth teaches us that economic decline and social problems feed each other. Towns need both jobs and hope to survive. Centralia, Pennsylvania. The underground fire Centralia, Pennsylvania is unique on our list. It's not dying from economic problems. It's literally burning up. In 1962, a fire started in an underground coal mine. The fire is still burning today. It will burn for at least 200 more years, maybe 500 years. Nobody knows for sure. Centralia once had 1,000 residents. Today it has fewer than 10. The government bought out most families and knocked down their houses. Only a few people refuse to leave. The fire burns under the ground. It creates dangerous gases. The earth gets hot. Cracks open in the streets. Steam rises from the ground. Most of Centralia looks like a ghost town. Empty lots where houses used to stand. A few abandoned buildings. Roads with huge cracks. Warning signs everywhere. Why do the last few residents stay? They love their town. They don't believe the danger is real. They don't want to leave their ancestors' graves. They're stubborn. The fire can't be stopped. It's too big and too deep. Trying to put it out would cost billions of dollars. The government decided it was cheaper to move people out. Centralia inspired the horror movie Silent Hill. Tourists come to see the ghost town. Some people find it fascinating. Others find it terrifying. The fire teaches us that some problems are too big to solve. Sometimes the only answer is to leave. Not every town can be saved. Will Centralia survive to 2026? The place will exist. The fire will burn. But it won't be a real town. It's more like a museum of disaster. Centralia reminds us that towns can die from natural disasters too. Coal mining helped build America. But it also created problems that will last for centuries. Camden, New Jersey. Crime and poverty. Camden, New Jersey sits across the river from Philadelphia. It should be a great place to live. It's close to a major city. It has history and culture. But Camden is one of America's most dangerous cities. Camden's population peaked at 125,000 in the 1950s. Today it's around 70,000. But the real problem isn't the size. It's the poverty and crime. Camden has one of the highest murder rates in America. Drug dealing happens on every corner. Children walk past dealers going to school. Families are afraid to leave their houses at night. What went wrong? Industry left. Campbell's Soup was the biggest employer. When they moved jobs away, the middle class followed. Only the poor stayed. Without good jobs, people turned to illegal activities. Drug dealing provided income. Gangs controlled territory. Violence became normal. The schools are terrible. Many children don't graduate high school. Those who do often can't read well. College seems impossible. The cycle of poverty continues. City services collapsed. Police couldn't control crime. Fire stations closed. Garbage wasn't collected. Streets weren't repaired. Camden became a symbol of urban decay. Politicians used it as an example of failed cities. News reports showed the worst neighborhoods. The reputation got worse and worse. But Camden is fighting back. The state of New Jersey took over the city government. They brought in new police. They're tearing down abandoned buildings. Some new businesses are moving in. The waterfront has nice attractions. A few neighborhoods are improving. Housing is incredibly cheap for the region. Young artists and activists are moving to Camden. They see potential where others see problems. They're starting community gardens and art programs. Camden has advantages. It's next to Philadelphia. Transportation is good. Some beautiful historic buildings remain. The people are strong and proud. Can Camden survive to 2026? Yes, but change will be slow. Decades of problems can't be fixed in a few years, but there are signs of hope. Camden shows us that cities can hit bottom and start climbing back up. It takes new leadership, outside help, and most importantly, people who believe things can get better. Pittsburgh, Kansas, the little town that could not. All small American towns are dying. Pittsburgh, Kansas shows what's possible when a community refuses to give up. Pittsburgh sits in the southeast corner of Kansas. It's not on any major highway. There are no big cities nearby. Most people have never heard of it. But Pittsburgh is growing while other small towns shrink. The population is about 20,000. That's not huge, but it's stable. More importantly, young people are staying and others are moving in. That's rare for small Kansas towns. What's Pittsburgh's secret? Education. Pittsburgh State University anchors the community. The university brings students, faculty, and staff. It creates a young, educated population. But universities exist in lots of small towns that are still dying. Pittsburgh does more than just host a college. They integrate the university with the community. Students don't just study and leave. They get involved in local businesses. They intern at area companies. Many stay after graduation because they've built connections. The university partners with local businesses on research projects. Engineering students help manufacturers solve problems. Business students help nonprofits with marketing. Downtown Pittsburgh is alive. Students and townspeople shop at the same stores. They eat at the same restaurants. Town and gown work together instead of fighting each other. Pittsburgh also embraces its history while planning for the future. It was once a mining town. Instead of running from that past, they celebrate it. The mining heritage attracts tourists and creates identity. The cost of living is incredibly low. A nice house costs less than a fancy car in big cities. Young professionals can afford to buy homes and start families. Local government is business-friendly but not desperate. They offer reasonable incentives to new companies without giving away the store. They maintain good services and infrastructure. The community supports local businesses. People choose to shop locally when possible. They understand that spending money in town keeps money in town. Pittsburgh has challenges too. It's isolated. Big companies might not locate there. Some young people still leave for bigger cities. The state of Kansas sometimes cuts university funding. But Pittsburgh proves small towns can succeed. They need a strong anchor institution. They need community cooperation. They need leaders who think long-term. Will Pittsburgh survive to 2026? Absolutely. It might even grow. It shows the rest of small-town America what's possible. Fargo, North Dakota Prairie success story. Fargo, North Dakota shouldn't be growing. It's cold, isolated, and in a state most Americans couldn't find on a map. But Fargo is one of America's fastest growing cities. The population has grown from 90,000 in 2000 to over 125,000 today. The metro area has nearly 250,000 people. That's huge growth for the Northern Plains. What's driving Fargo's success? Diversification. They don't depend on just one industry. Oil helps, but it's not everything. Fargo has a strong healthcare sector. Sanford Health is a major employer. Healthcare jobs are stable and pay well. They attract educated workers from across the region. Agriculture remains important, but it's modern agriculture. Technology companies help farmers use data and GPS. Food processing plants add value to crops. It's not your grandfather's farming. The universities provide stability. North Dakota State University has 14,000 students. They study everything from engineering to agriculture to business. Graduates often stay in the region. Fargo has something most growing cities lack: affordability. Housing costs are reasonable. Traffic isn't terrible. You can buy a good house and still have money left for other things. The community invests in quality of life. They built a beautiful downtown. They have good restaurants and shopping. They maintain excellent parks and recreation facilities. Fargo benefits from being the biggest city in the region. If you live in rural North Dakota or Minnesota, Fargo is where you go for shopping, healthcare, and entertainment. The winters are brutal. Temperatures can drop to 30 below zero. But people adapt. They dress warmly and keep living their lives. The cold keeps some people away, but it also creates community. Fargo has great infrastructure. The roads are good. Internet service is excellent. The airport connects to major cities. They maintain their systems instead of letting them decay. Local government is competent and honest. Taxes are reasonable. Services work. Corruption is rare. People trust their leaders. The business climate is friendly but not desperate. Companies can succeed in Fargo if they work hard and serve customers well. Nobody expects handouts. Will Fargo survive to 2026? It will thrive. It might reach 150,000 people by then. It proves that location isn't destiny. Cold weather and isolation can be overcome with the right strategy. Fargo teaches us that growing cities need several things: diverse economy, good leadership, reasonable costs, and quality of life. Get those right, and even prairie cities can boom. The future of American communities. We've traveled from Mississippi to North Dakota. We've seen towns dying and cities growing. We've learned what kills communities and what helps them survive. Most of America's rural areas face decline, but that doesn't mean they're all doomed. The difference between surviving towns and dying ones isn't luck. It's strategy. Successful communities have several things in common. They have economic diversity. They don't depend on just one employer or one industry. When times change, they adapt. They invest in education. Universities, community colleges, and good schools create opportunities for young people. Education also attracts businesses that need skilled workers. They maintain infrastructure. Roads, water systems, and internet connections matter. Companies won't locate where basic services don't work. They have honest, competent leadership. Corruption and incompetence kill towns faster than economic change. People need to trust their government. They work together. Town versus university. Old versus young. Rich versus poor. These divisions destroy communities. Successful places find common ground. Dying towns often make the same mistakes. They depend too heavily on one industry. They fight change instead of adapting to it. They let infrastructure decay. They drive away young people. Some problems are too big for local communities to solve alone. The opioid crisis, climate change, and global economic forces overwhelm small towns. They need help from state and federal government. But communities have more control over their fate than they think. They can choose to work together or fight each other. They can choose to invest in the future or cling to the past. During the pandemic, being able to work remotely allowed many Americans to return to their hometowns or move to smaller, cheaper towns. The end of the health emergency marked a reversal as companies pushed for employees to return to the office. Technology might help small towns. If remote work becomes permanent, people could live anywhere with good internet. Small towns offer space, affordability, and community that big cities can't match. America will always have small towns. The question is which ones will thrive and which ones will fade away. The answer depends on the choices we make today. The towns we visited teach us important lessons. Yazoo City and Cairo show what happens when purpose disappears. Flint and Youngstown prove cities can survive disasters if they adapt. Portsmouth demonstrates that social problems can be overcome with time and effort. Pittsburgh and Fargo show the possibilities. Small communities can grow and prosper if they make smart decisions. Education, cooperation, and good leadership matter more than location or history. By 2026, some of these towns will surprise us. Others will confirm our predictions. But all of them will continue to be home to Americans who believe their communities are worth saving. The future of American towns isn't written yet. Every community has choices to make. Every citizen has a role to play. The stories continue to unfold.